Oh my Lord. Guys, I'm gonna have to get rid of them, huh? Come on. Hi guys, how you guys doing? So today I'm gonna talk about something that I feel like I would watch a video on, especially a few years ago, and that's gonna be getting married young, or more like getting married at 19, which is what I did. I feel like that this is something that, it's one of those things where it doesn't happen super frequently, at least from where I'm from. So I knew that when I was thinking about getting married or getting engaged or whatever, I was watching so many videos because I felt really confused and kind of alone and like, I don't know. I just hadn't seen it really done before many times, so I didn't know what it was gonna be like, and I wanted to know if I was making the right decision. So hopefully this video is a little bit informative, maybe a little bit comforting, or just gives you some new things to think about. The first thing I wanna talk about when it comes to getting married young is the feedback that you might get when you do get engaged. And I know for me and my family, I know that a lot of people have great experiences, but Dylan and I did not have the easiest time telling people that we were getting married young. And my family was okay with it, but we had a little bit of a harder time from his family, and a lot of it was like just strangers giving us a hard time, and we had some friends who kind of were a little bit judgmental about it, and so that definitely, I was kind of prepared for it, but I don't think that I realized how much it would affect me and make me question my decisions and just kind of make me insecure. I remember I would tell, people would see my engagement ring at work or wherever, and they would be like, oh, are you engaged? How old are you? And that was the first thing that they would ask. And I would tell them and they'd be like, ugh, good luck. So yeah, it was really discouraging. Even on our honeymoon, we had people kind of like scoff at us and just be really weird about it. So I just think that it's important to remember that when people are negative, usually they're negative because they're giving you advice out of a place of fear. And a lot of people have been hurt from marriage, or they've seen their parents get divorced, or they've had friends who have been in bad marriages and gotten divorced. But it doesn't mean that your marriage is going to be bad, or that anything is, you know, I mean, obviously I would say take it with some wisdom. Like, if you maybe deep down you feel like you know that your relationship isn't the most healthy, then people might be trying to help you. But if you are taking all the right steps and doing counseling, and you've been together a while, and you know that like you and your spouse are really on the same page about it, and you feel confident and like you couldn't be with anybody else, then just take it with a grain of salt, because they've probably been hurt by marriage or relationships before. So the second thing that I wanted to bring up about getting married young is that it's really can be super lonely. And I had a friend, and she got married at 21, and so even 2 years older than I was, but I know for her it was also a very lonely time. And that's because a lot of people in your friend circle or people that you went to high school or college with aren't married yet, and so they haven't been through it before, so they don't know how to help or how much work it is planning a wedding. And they just don't really know how to be there. And a lot of times this is a time in most young people's lives where they're very self-involved, and you're kind of trying to establish yourself. So a lot of people aren't in a place where they're ready to sacrifice a ton of time and energy into helping you and supporting you through the wedding process. I was lucky enough to have some people who were helping me, but I only have one sister, and I wanted her to be my maid of honor because I'd want to be her maid of honor. I have 2 stepsisters and 1 real sister, but yeah, so, but she was 14 at the time, no, 15 at the time, so she was 15, and she just, like, Amaria, if you're watching this, I love you to death, and I know she's 17 now, and I know that it would be very different. Wait, she was 14, okay, yeah, so she's 17 now, we're 4 years apart, and so, yeah, I know that it would be very different if she planned my wedding now at her age, but then she just, like, I didn't even give her any tasks, but just as far as being involved, like wanting to come to my bachelorette and come to my bridal shower, she kind of just didn't have a great attitude, and I did end up losing it and complaining to my mom and crying, and she overheard and we made up. But yeah, I would just say be prepared for people to maybe not be what you expect, because I think that you can have a lot of unspoken expectations to the people in your life, and when people are young, like, they're just figuring it out. They're just trying to get through, do their own thing. So don't take it personal. Just try and make the best of your experience, and maybe look for some older people who have been through it, like aunts or your mom, or people in your community who can kind of pour into you and support you during the process. The next thing I wanted to mention was that a lot of people might think that you're pregnant. A lot of people thought that I was pregnant when Dylan and I got married, which I was not. But I did have some rumors being spread that I was pregnant, even amongst my extended family. People were messaging my mom on Facebook, being like, oh, you're so excited to be a grandma. And my mom was like, not yet, she's not pregnant, stop assuming. So yeah, that was negative and frustrating, but within the first year I knew that everyone would be over it, and I just had to stand my ground. Oh my gosh, hold on. Okay, moving on from the negatives, I have some really good things that I want to share about getting married young that you may not think about, and these are some big benefits that I think are really cool. So the first thing is that because Dylan and I had went from sharing things with siblings and with our families to living with each other and having to combine, we weren't really, like, we hadn't been living on our own for a long time, so we hadn't been set in our ways as far as the way that we did things, the way that we cleaned, the way that we decorated, the way that we managed money. We were kind of just figuring everything out together, and it was really new. So I know a lot of people, like, combining your lives and combining your homes can be really challenging, and it can create a lot of tension and conflict because there's just ways that you've done things for many of years, and you're kind of set in your ways and you have to let go of that. But because we had gone straight from already not really getting our way and already having to share and not have everything perfect and exactly how we want it, it was a lot easier moving in together because we were had a lot more grace for each other, and I think that that's been really helpful. And it was super exciting to be like, we're building this life together, we're building our home, everything is our style, things that we've decided on, things that we've created, and yeah, we just gotta, like, do it all from scratch and make this really cool life and home for ourselves. Moving on to the next thing that kind of goes hand in hand is, it is really cool to be able to combine your finances young. I know that a lot of people, when they get married now, they don't combine their finances, but Dylan and I combined our finances like when we were engaged, before we were even married. We were able to decide how we wanted to manage and spend our money together, and we didn't have any debts that the other person had to take on, and any financial situation that was negative or positive, we had gotten into together, and so it was ours, which is helpful because it doesn't make you turn against each other or feel like this is mine and not yours. I think that combining finances young is definitely really helpful and really nice because you kind of just get a look at your life and be like, wow, I have a partner to help me, and we're looking at the future, and these are our goals, and this is how we're going to accomplish it, and we're going to do it together, and anything that goes wrong is going to happen with us together, and everything that goes good is going to happen with us together. So I think that that's super great about getting married young. On the note of money, one other thing that I wanted to add about getting married young is that getting married young, you have to remember that you're both young, and a lot of times when you're young, you don't make the smartest decisions. And because I'm very like, do it now, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, oh, I have an idea, what's the next steps, how do I move forward? And Dylan is very methodical and slow thinking and a little bit more slow moving, but much better at following through. When it came to certain things, I always wanted to reach forward and grab the reins and be like, I know what's best, what's the next step, I'm gonna take action. And my mom actually gave me some great advice, and she was like, don't compromise allowing your spouse to grow into themselves, and don't compromise your marriage by creating an open door for resentment by controlling your spouse to the point where they can't grow and can't fail and can't learn from their mistakes. So just be prepared for your spouse to be figuring things out, and for both of you to be figuring things out, and give each other grace when it comes to managing money or managing a home or learning anything. I think that there's just a huge learning curve in adulthood, and when you do get married young, that's something that you have to be aware of and allow your spouse to be themselves and to not be perfect and to mess up sometimes, because they're gonna mess up sometimes, you're gonna mess up sometimes. But if you have a mutual grace and be like, hey, we're just trying to figure this out, but we're trying to figure it out together and as a team, then that is going to help you a lot in the long run and help your marriage not be filled with resentment or bitterness, feeling like you couldn't be yourself or had to sacrifice or fake things. The last thing that I wanted to mention about getting married young is that it can be really, really good. So I feel like that is just what I needed to hear when I was engaged and first getting married. I felt like there was so much negativity and so much like judgment, and a lot of people had planted seeds of fear in my mind that made me think like, because I'm young, I don't deserve a good marriage, or I'm not gonna have a good marriage, or that this isn't gonna be a good outcome. But I think that if you have a healthy relationship, you're committed to each other, you know that you wanna spend the rest of your life with each other, and you understand and go through the steps to understand what you're getting yourself into, then getting married young can be awesome. And you can be 19 and have a great marriage, and be 40, get married at 40 and have a terrible marriage. I think it depends a lot on the maturity of the people, which isn't always measured by age. I also think that it depends on, just like the people and the style of their relationship. And so I would say don't be discouraged just because you're young, just because it's scary, because you still can deserve to have a great life with somebody. You still can have a good marriage, and it might be hard, but it doesn't mean that you're destined to get divorced, because I don't think that getting married young always means that it's not going to work out. It can be really good, and you can have a really fulfilling life with each other. So those are my tips. I'm gonna make more videos about getting married young and what that was like for me, and just what it's like to be 20, 21 and married, because I know I was interested and I loved that kind of stuff. So subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos once or twice a week, sometimes more. Thanks for watching. Bye.